Welcome to the deep dive. Today, we're diving into a really crucial area of maternal health, preeclampsia diagnostics.
Mm.
We've basically gone through a 2025 market report, pulled out the key stuff, the insights, the future trends for you.
Yeah, make it digestible.
Exactly. Preeclampsia, well, you probably know it's that serious pregnancy complication, high blood pressure, potential organ issues, that kind of thing.
Right.
So our mission today is pretty simple. Give you a clear, concise look at what's driving the market for diagnosing it. Kind of a shortcut to getting up to speed.
And it's a big market already. The estimate for 2025 globally is USD 2,640.0 million.
Wow.
Yeah, and what's really striking is the growth forecast. The report suggests it could hit USD 525.81 million by 2033.
Okay, so what's the growth rate on that?
It works out to a CAGR, a compound annual growth rate of 10.40%. So yeah, expecting some serious expansion.
10% growth, okay. That gives us the big picture. Let's zoom in a bit. Regionally, where's the action? Where's the growth happening right now?
Well, currently, North America has the lion's share, over 40% of the global market.
Okay.
For 2025, that's pegged at USD 976.80 million. Growth-wise, they're looking at an 8.8% CAGR.
And within North America, I assume the U.S. is dominant?
Oh, yeah, definitely. The U.S. market alone is estimated at USD 770.70 million for 2025, growing at 8.6%, likely because of, the advanced healthcare infrastructure they have.
Makes sense. What about Canada and Mexico? Are they significant?
Canada's showing solid growth, about USD 117.22 million in 2025, and their TAGR is actually a bit higher, 9.6%. Maybe more emphasis on screening up there.
Interesting.
In Mexico, around USD 88.89 million in 2025, also growing strong at 9.3%. Suggests, growing focus down there too.
So North America leads now, but I thought I heard other regions are catching up fast. What's the story in Europe?
Europe's the second biggest, yeah.
Yeah.
Over 30% of the global share. That's about USD 765.60 million in 2025.
Okay.
And their growth is pretty strong too, a CAGR of 9.4%.
Within Europe. Any standouts?
Well, the UK looks quite dynamic.
Yeah.
USD 128.62 million market in 2025 and growing at 10.2%. Could be their focus on healthcare innovation.
Right.
Germany's also big, USD 151.59 million, growing at 9.6%. Probably leveraging their tech base in med devices.
Okay, beyond the UK and Germany.
Let's see, France is around USD 70.44 million, growing at 8.6%. Italy, about USD 65.84 million, 8.8% growth. Russia's actually quite large, USD 118.67 million, though growing a bit slower at 8.4%.
Okay.
Spain's at USD 62.78 million, 8.5% growth. Then you have like Sweden, Denmark.
Nordics.
Yeah, USD 23.73 million for Sweden, 9.5% CAGR. USD 16.08 million for Denmark, 9.2%.
Right.
Switzerland's about USD 11.48 million, 9.1%. Luxembourg, USD 9.19 million, 9.7%. And the rest of Europe together is over USD 100 million, growing around 8.1%.
So pretty broad-based growth in Europe, it seems. Now, Asia-Pacific, you mentioned fastest growing.
Absolutely. APAC. Right now, it's about 23% of the global market, so USD 633.60 million in 2025.
But the growth.
That's the key. The projected CAGR is 13.2%, highest of all regions.
13%. Okay, who's driving that? China, India.
Both are major drivers.
Yeah.
China's market is huge, USD 266.11 million in 2025, and growing fast at 12.7%. Maybe linked to more screening, maybe higher incidence rates, hard to say for sure.
And India.
India's growth rate is even higher, 15.1% CAGR. Market size USD 63.36 million in 2025. Reflects, better healthcare access and big pushes on maternal health.
15%. Wow. What about other key players in APAC? Japan?
Korea, Japan's substantial, USD 87.44 million, growing at 11.7%. South Korea is also significant, USD 76.03 million, 12.3% growth.
Okay.
Australia, with its established system, is USD 32.95 million, growing at 12.5%. Singapore is smaller but expanding really fast, 13.71 million, 13.0% growth. Southeast Asia collectively is about USD 41.82 million, growing at 14.0%.
Right.
And the rest of APAC adds another USD 28.5 million or so. The dynamism is really something.
Okay, moving continents. South America. What's the picture there?
Smaller share, just over 5%. About USD 100.32 million in 2025. But the growth is still strong, 11.1% CAGR overall.
And Brazil leads there, I assume?
Correct. Brazil's the largest, USD 42.94 million, growing at 12.0%. Probably reflects efforts to expand healthcare. Argentina's next, USD 16.85 million, also 12.0% growth.
Good growth rates.
Yeah, then you have Colombia, Peru, Chile, all showing decent growth around 10–11%. The rest of South America adds about USD 16 million.
Okay. And finally, the Middle East and Africa. Often smaller markets, but sometimes surprising growth.
Right. The Middle East is around 2% globally, but USD 105.60 million in 2025, growing quite well, 11.7% CAGR.
Any specific countries?
Saudi Arabia is the main market, USD 37.17 million, growing at 12.0%. The UAE is also significant, USD 21.75 million, 12.2% growth. Turkey, Qatar, Egypt are smaller, but growing nicely too.
I see, in Africa.
Smallest share, about 1%. That's roughly USD 58.08 million in 2025, with a 10.7% CAGR. South Africa leads with USD 20.44 million, 11.6% growth. Then Nigeria at USD 4.65 million, 10.9%. The rest of Africa makes up the remainder. So smaller base, but the growth indicates increasing focus.
It's really useful seeing that global map laid out. So, stepping back, what are the core reasons why this market is expanding so much everywhere? What are the main drivers?
Well, the report points to a few key things. First and foremost, sadly, the prevalence of preeclampsia itself and related pregnancy issues seems to be rising. So just a greater need.
Okay, higher incidence.
Second, there's just much more awareness globally about maternal and fetal health. People, governments, healthcare systems are focusing more on good outcomes. That drives demand for early, accurate tests.
Right, better awareness.
And third, the technology itself is getting better. Advancements are making tests more reliable, maybe easier to use, allowing earlier detection. That feeds the growth, too.
Okay, so need, awareness, and better tech. Are there things holding the market back? Restraint.
Yeah, definitely. The big one is cost. Some of these newer advanced tests can be expensive. That's a barrier, especially in lower-income countries or regions.
Makes sense.
And tied to that is access. Even if the tests exist, getting them into clinics, having trained people to use them and interpret results, that's a challenge in places with limited healthcare infrastructure.
Cost and access. Classic challenges. Looking forward then, what are the exciting trends? What should we watch?
Two big ones stand out in the report. One is the increasing use of AI, artificial intelligence, and machine learning.
AI everywhere. How here?
Well, AI algorithms can analyze tons of data, patient history, test results, maybe even sensor data to spot patterns and predict risk much earlier or more accurately than traditional methods. Could lead to more personalized care.
Interesting. And the second trend?
That's the move towards home-based and wearable diagnostic devices. Imagine pregnant individuals being able to monitor key things like blood pressure or maybe specific biomarkers easily at home.
Like continuous monitoring.
Potentially, yeah. Or just more frequent checks. It could really help catch problems earlier, more conveniently.
Those sound like potentially big shifts. Who are the main companies driving this now? The big players.
It's a competitive field.
Yep.
You've got the big multinationals and smaller specialists. The report specifically calls out Roche Diagnostic, Thermo Fisher Scientific, and Siemens Healthineers as major players.
The usual suspects in diagnostics.
Pretty much, yeah. They have broad portfolios and global reach, which helps them dominate.
And did the report mention any specific recent activities, like real-world examples?
Yes, it did. It mentioned an initiative from November 2024 by NHS Lothian in Scotland. They started using the PLGF blood test, that's placental growth factor, for women considered high risk for preeclampsia.
Okay, what's the goal there?
The idea is to diagnose more accurately and, importantly, avoid unnecessary interventions or hospital stays if the test indicates lower risk. Roche Diagnostics is supporting that program. Shows the tech being applied.
Practical application. Anything else?
It also noted Roche opening a new pharma research and early development center in Basel back in September 2024. Now, that's broader than just diagnostics, but investing in R&D suggests they're committed to finding new solutions, potentially including better preeclampsia diagnostics down the line.
Right, investing in the pipeline. Okay, the report also sliced the market by different segments, right? Let's touch on those. Product outlook first. What products lead?
Okay, so this part needs a bit of clarification. The report mentions peripheral vascular grafts as dominant. Now, these aren't diagnostic tools for preeclampsia itself.
Okay. So what's the connection?
They're used to manage a complication. Severe preeclampsia can damage blood vessels. These grafts are used in surgery to repair or bypass those damaged vessels. Hospitals apparently prefer them because they're durable.
Got it. So treatment for complications, not diagnosis. What about the fastest growing product segment then? Still related to complications.
Yes, that's endovascular stent grafts, again, for treatment. Their growth ties into the trend of minimally invasive surgery.
Right.
Instead of open surgery, these stents can be placed via catheters to open up narrowed vessels caused by hypertension, which is central to preeclampsia. Less risk, faster recovery.
Okay, so the product segment here is really about managing vascular side effects. Let's look at the materials for these grafts. What's most common?
Synthetic materials hold the biggest share, specifically PTFE polytetrafluoroethylene. You might know it as Teflon, though used medically.
Right.
It's widely used in vascular surgery. It's biocompatible, lasts a long time, and hospitals like it because there's maybe a lower infection risk compared to some other options, and it's readily available.
And what's gaining ground? Any newer materials?
Yes, the biosynthetic segment is growing fast. These often use something like ovine collagen combined with polyester. The idea is to get the benefits of biological material, like better integration with the body's tissues, plus the strength of synthetic. People are increasingly interested in these more natural solutions.
Interesting blend. Now, what about the size of these grafts? Does size matter in this market?
Apparently, yes. Large size vascular grafts have the biggest market share currently. These are for major surgeries, dealing with significant vessel damage from severe preeclampsia. High-risk cases often need these larger repairs.
Okay, makes sense for severe cases. And fastest growing size.
That would be the small-size vascular grafts. These are used for more localized blockages or less severe damage. The rise of minimally invasive techniques favors smaller interventions, and better materials make these small grafts more effective.
Gotcha. Let's shift to applications.
Where are these vascular interventions most commonly applied in the context of preeclampsia complications?
The report says coronary artery bypass has the largest share.
Heart bypass.
In pregnancy.
It sounds dramatic, but severe preeclampsia involves intense hypertension, which can seriously strain the heart. In some critical cases, bypass surgery might be needed to restore blood flow to a heart muscle itself. The rise in pregnancy-related cardiovascular issues drives this.
Wow, okay. That highlights the severity. What's the fastest growing application area?
That's critical limb ischemia. This is when blood flow to the arms or legs gets severely restricted. Again, a potential serious complication of the vascular issues in preeclampsia. As awareness of these complications grows, the need for interventions like grafts or stents for limbs increases.
Right, treating those peripheral effects. Finally, let's talk end users. Who's using these diagnostics and performing these related procedures? Where's the biggest share?
No surprise here. Hospitals. They have the largest market share. They're the primary places for detecting preeclampsia, managing high-risk pregnancies, and performing the complex surgeries if needed. They have the specialists, the equipment.
Center.
And initiatives focused on maternal health often mean more monitoring and admissions in hospitals too.
Okay. And where's the fastest growth happening for end users?
That would be ambulatory surgery centers, or ASCs.
The outpatient centers.
Exactly. They offer specialized services, often at lower cost than hospitals, and patients get shorter stays. As technology for both diagnostics and some less complex vascular procedures becomes more portable or suitable for these settings, ASCs are capturing more of this market. Convenience is a big factor.
Okay, ASC's growing fast. This has been, wow, a really thorough walkthrough of the report. Thanks for breaking it all down. If you had to boil it down, what are the absolute key takeaways for our listeners?
Okay, first, it's a big and significantly growing global market for preeclampsia diagnostics and related complication management.
Okay.
Second, North America leads now, but watch Asia Pacific. That's where the fastest growth is happening.
Right.
Third, growth is fueled by rising prevalence, better awareness, and tech advancements. Fourth, cost and access are hurdles, but trends like AI and home-based diagnostics look really promising for the future.
And it's fascinating how the regional dynamics might shift. With APAC growing so quickly, it really underlines the global focus on this issue.
Absolutely. And ultimately, all this market activity, all this innovation, it really boils down to the importance of early and accurate diagnosis. That's key to managing preeclampsia better and improving outcomes for mothers and babies.
Definitely. This gives us a great snapshot of where things stand and where they might be heading. It makes you wonder, with diagnostics improving so fast and this global push for maternal health, what other innovations might pop up in the next 10 years? What else could really change the game for managing preeclampsia?
Yeah.
Something to think about for sure. Thanks for joining us for this deep dive.